we're on the hunt for some of the rarest and most coveted beers made in the world. In the last 10 years, American craft breweries have come to dominate the world rankings in beer. And the best of these are made in small batches all across the country. The huge demand and limited supply for these rare brews means you're not going to find them on the shelf at your local store. Our goal of this show is to bring you along to the local brewery events and show you that the hunt for these beers is just as memorable and fun as drinking the beer in the end.
Limited release.
Hey Rob, what's happening?
Not much, man. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. So what's on tap for today?
Today we're going to go after the devil himself. We're going to go where it all started, Ron. We're going to go back to the first big release party beer. We're going to go after the Dark Lord.
Oh, that's one of the biggest and longest running release days, in the country. I'm really excited about this one.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no. Three Floyds is a fantastic little craft brewery. They turn out some awesome beers. I know that Russian Imperial Stout is renowned around the world as one of the best.
Excellent.
So what do we know about Three Floyds Brewery?
So Three Floyds was founded in 1996 by, you guessed it, the Floyd family. Brothers Nick and Simon, along with their dad Mike, started the brewery in an old warehouse in Hammond, Indiana. And they started off with actually like 1 5-barrel pot, and they actually heated it with a wok burner.
Very MacGyver of them.
Well, if you thought that's great, it's even better that the fermentation tank they had was an old recycled Swiss cheese fermenter.
Even better.
But the beer was good and demand grew, and in 2000 they moved into their current location, which can actually do 35 barrels of beer at a time now, which is actually still quite small, even by craft beer standards.
It's incredible if you look at the list of things that they put out. Like, they cover the whole board of categories, and they're almost all really highly rated. It's unbelievable.
After looking at this list, I think I need a drink.
I think I know where we can get one.
So let's talk a little bit about this beer we're going after.
Dark Lord was first made in about 2002, and it was a relatively small batch of only 5 barrels. However, it was immediately recognized how good this beer was, and the demand for it went through the roof. And since then, it has become one of the most sought-after beers in the country.
What makes it so special?
So, Russian Imperial Stouts are a real niche beer, right? And the thing is, they're very, very heavy and very strong. The thing is, when you're reeling without those heavy flavors, it's really difficult to balance all the various flavors and get a good blend. And that's where having a really great brewer comes in, which is apparently what they have at Three Floyds.
Yeah, I know for the style, it can be anywhere from like almost syrupy, sugary, all the way to just toasted and burnt. Where does Dark Lord sort of fit on that scale?
So Dark Lord leans on the syrupy sweet side. I mean, it's not syrupy sweet, but it is on the sweeter side. It still does have some of that toasty flavor, and there's a little bit of hops in there. But the thing about those sweet flavors is they really tend to jive well in the public. They like a lot. And the other nice thing about the sweeter side is it lends itself better to cellaring. So you can take your bottle of Dark Lord, you can put it in the basement for 2, 3, 4, 15 years if you want. And that makes it even more collectible and more cherishable because you can get it and put it away for a long time.
So speaking about cherishable and collectible, I've heard about an even more limited release of the limited release of Dark Lord. Yes. I mean, tell me about that.
Okay, so when you get in the door with your ticket to Dark Lord Day, you give them your ticket that you bought, and they give you back a scratch-off ticket. While you wait for your line. Tickets for tickets. And then you scratch off your ticket, and if you're very lucky, you can win the right to buy one more bottle of Dark Lord in addition to your original allotment. And that will be one of the special release Dark Lords. And that's either a bourbon barrel-aged Dark Lord, a cognac barrel-aged Dark Lord, a cognac aged Dark Lord with pepper called the Muerte. And then finally there's the vanilla bean aged Dark Lord, which is probably the most sought after of the bunch. Everybody goes nuts for those.
Well, knowing how popular this event is, I threw together a little montage of what I think we can expect.
There are some key events or elements to Dark Lord Day that you should expect. Lines. There's no way around it. When you have 6,000 people somewhere, it's going to be busy. There are beers on tap. Three Floyds will have a tent set up that will serve their beers, including Zombie Dust and Gumball Head. There is also a guest breweries tent where attendees can sample beers from other breweries. Food is available and is generally very good. Try the pulled pork. T-shirts are sold, and they do have live music that starts later in the day, as long as you like heavy metal. Dark Lord Day first started in 2004, but has grown into such a popular event that they had to limit the number of attendees after 2010 when the crowds exceeded 10,000 people and the brewery was overwhelmed. The current structure requires you to buy a ticket online about 6 weeks in advance that will allow you entry into the brewery and one allocation of Dark Lord. You are able to buy 2 tickets for $15 each, but they sell out extremely fast, less than a minute. This year, they also announced on Twitter that they were selling a limited number of tickets at the brewery directly. They sell 6,000 tickets split evenly between release groups. And also remember, you must have a ticket to enter the brewery. No party crashers. When buying the tickets, you need to pick a release group that determines what time you can pick up your Dark Lord allocation. There are 3 groups. Group A has pickup times from 10 to noon, Group B from 1 to 3, and Group C from 5 to 7 p.m. You can enter the brewery earlier than your ticket time to buy draft beers, food, and merchandise, but when it's time to get your Dark Lord allocation, you have to get back in the line. As is the nature of a limited release, secondary markets spring up to handle the high levels of demand. Immediately after tickets sold out on the official site, tickets were available on eBay for up to $400 a ticket. Crazy. As the day got closer, the tickets started to become much more reasonably priced for those who wanted to risk waiting to buy them. And in the end, you could get a ticket for about $80. eBay, StubHub, and Craigslist are all good places to check for tickets, but 3 Floyds doesn't endorse or encourage the scalping of Dark Lord Day tickets. Just be ready to buy them when they're released and have friends help out. So Dave, what's better? Doing scratch-off tickets where you can wander in over the course of 5 or 6 hours and have a chance of winning it? Or losing out in 12 seconds?
Good question. This time I didn't have to drive 4 hours.
The hotels around the 3 Floyds brewery were filled with beer geeks like us attending Dark Lord Day, and someone in our hotel had set up an open beer tasting party in the hotel conference room. Now, if you've never been to a beer tasting party before, here's a few tips for you. Number 1, don't be shy. These are your people, and they're really excited to share their favorite local beers. Number 2, bring a small glass, or better yet, bring 2, and it is good manners to rinse them out between tastes. If you don't have any glasses, don't sweat it. Somebody there will have brought plastic cups you can use. Number 3, your samples are probably only going to be an ounce or 2 each, but take your time. It adds up quick, and some of these are going to be very boozy beers. Number 4, try to bring along some of your favorite local beers that other people who are there can't get in their hometown. Number 5, open one of your beers you brought and mingle around asking if others would like a taste. It's a great way to make new friends, and who's going to say no to a free taste of beer? Number 6, when you find something you really like, find out who brought it. Say thank you and find out where they're from. Maybe if you're lucky, you can set up some future beer trades from your local beers to theirs. Finally, number 7, be polite. Some of the beers you're going to taste aren't going to be your favorite, but somebody there was really excited to bring it, so be nice.
Good morning. It's 5:30 in the morning. Raining like hell. Cold. Time to get some beer.
A lovely day.
Yeah! Our hotel was about 5 miles away from the brewery, and we got to tour lovely Munster, Indiana as we made our way to the industrial park where the brewery is located. Parking can be challenging as the street spots fill up quickly. There are some business lots around, but they do charge to park there. We chose one close to the brewery, and they charged us $50 to park there. Ouch. Another challenge of a beer release in April in Chicago is the weather can be unpredictable. Thankfully, we anticipated some rain and had ordered a pop-up tent and some chairs to handle the inclement weather, and then we settled in for our 4-hour wait. This also made us some quick friends who brought more beers to share.
So, the guy over here who's diehard enough to be here first in line, but just has a couple garbage bags.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say interview the first guy in line, but I don't think you should talk to that guy.
We got to interview the second guy in line.
A big part of the morning is walking around, meeting up with new people, and sharing beers.
No problem. Minneapolis. Rob. Steve, nice to meet you. Nothing? Rich? Nice to meet you guys. You guys are like neighbors, you don't know each other, huh? They want some abrasive up here? Yes. What's early? Thank you. You're welcome. What kind is it? Shirley Abrasive. It's double IPA. Oh, excellent. No problem. What time did you guys get here? 3? Holy cow.
So that brings up sort of one of the other major components of Dark Lord Day, beer trading.
Oh yeah, I understand Dark Lord Day is a great place to hook up with people and get regional beers that you don't have at home that you can find somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean, because they really, the crowd comes from around the country, and they do a really good job of bringing sort of regional beers that you can't get elsewhere. They all bring them to Chicago and then you trade them. Like I know, for instance, I brought a bunch of Pliny the Elder because in San Francisco it's relatively easy to get, whereas in the Midwest, no Pliny.
So how do you go about setting up these trades?
I found the best way to do it is to go to some of the major beer sites like Beer Advocate or Rate Beer, and they all have forums that have trading sections in there, and you just say, I'm going to be at Dark Lord Day, this is what I have, this is what I'm looking for, and they make the connection.
So finally, at 10 a.m., the gates opened up and the line started moving. Somehow, even though we were only about 100 people back when we got in line, there were about 300 people in front of us by the time we got into the gate. Oh well.
Yeah, that Gilgamesh was good.
Gilgamesh. It'd be better if it was Gargamel. The Smurf beer.
Once you get inside, you have a decision to make. Do you stay in the line for picking up your A allocation of Dark Lord, or do you try to get into the brew pub? We opted for getting our Dark Lord right away.
Well, maybe a quick beer first.
And we've gone from one line to another line, but a line next to a brewery.
As we wound our way around the brewery, we finally approached the back entrance where they were exchanging your entrance tickets for a golden ticket. There's also a cash machine here in case you need money to buy your bottles. Note, this event is cash only, so bring enough to pay for your bottles, drafts, extra beers, and merchandise.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
All right.
Nope, we don't have anything.
I'm sure this is the winner.
Yeah, you understand? Yep, you're good. Awesome. That is the winner. I've been getting out a lot of winners.
I'm glad.
We got our golden tickets, but sadly didn't win one of the coveted barrel-aged bottles. Heading around the corner, there are tables where you can pick up and pay for your allocation of Dark Lord.
Caution, the cardboard carriers they give you suck. Make sure you hold the bottom of the box so this doesn't happen to you.
After that, they move you along through the music area, but for Group A, the band hadn't started yet. Then you get shuffled outside and the rest of your day begins.
One of the big bonuses of attending an event like this at the brewery, as opposed to the brew pub, is that they often sell their other beers direct to the public. So if, like us, you don't live in Western Indiana or Chicago, this is your opportunity to stock up on Three Floyds beers. Plus, they'll often sell unique and rare offerings that even the locals don't find in their shops. This year, Three Floyds broke out a few special cases that they'd been stashed away. Most notably were several variants of the Alpha Claus beer and the Baller Stout.
Now, Rob went a little nuts and bought like 4 cases of beer without thought about how he was going to actually get it back to the car. It was hilarious watching him try to lug all that stuff back.
We went through the line again in the C group to stand as proxy for some friends who had tickets but had to cancel at the last minute, and we found it was an entirely different experience from our orderly A group. Around 4:30 p.m., all the B line disappeared into the brewery, and we were hoping this was because they all had been served. What we really found what happened was that nice straight line outside had just become a morass of tangled lines inside.
I think most people are all in line. Are they? Look, I think we could probably wait. It's arching around that pit. But like over here, I think is where the movie is, and then like the beer and the...
When we got in line, it was winding around the bathrooms and was really about 4 lines that converged into one by the entry gate. We stood in line for about 45 minutes without moving 10 feet, as everyone just cut in line in front of us upstream.
It's now been 45 minutes and we've moved 8 feet.
I say we moved 12 feet. You are wrong. Although in those 45 minutes, 1,000 yards worth of people in front of us have moved.
I would say that the sun came out and people cheered up for a short time, but the novelty is worn off and now people are getting bitter again.
People are actually more sad now because now that the sun's out, they can see just how little they've actually moved. And now they know, like, oh my god, this place I've been forever.
Yeah. Once again, get your A ticket. It would seem as though the C group is considerably different from the A group. The A group was more what I would call hardcore, serious beer geeks, whereas the C crowd has entirely more hipsters.
there definitely is a hipster element here.
Yeah.
It may also be that the A group hasn't had 8 hours to drink.
Are you saying that I think they look better because I've been drinking for 8 hours?
Once we got to the ticket checker, the line was much smoother, and we were even lucky enough to score a bottle of barrel-aged Dark Lord when we went inside. It seemed like there were more winners in the C group, as 4 or 5 people in our group all had winning tickets.
Yes! Woohoo! Win one? Yeah! You guys both win?
Tickets and wristbands, please.
About fucking time!
Well, it's been a long and productive day.
Look at this crazy
I'm
amount
tired.
of beer we have. That is ridiculous.
Loaded the car with all things Three Floyds.
Oh my goodness.
Not the least of which is a load of Dark Lord and 2 bottles of Special Reserve Bourbon Barrel Dark Lord. Now we are going to go eat some food and go the hell to bed.
So how did we do this year?
Well, we got a lot of great Three Floyds beers, and not only the Dark Lords, but quite a lot of the other offerings they have.
Yeah, I saw you walking across that field with like 3 cases of beer and some other stuff hanging out, and all the line was like pointing and laughing at you, and I was too, because it was hilarious.
Yeah, wasn't that funny on my end?
Well, I mostly focused on actually getting trade beers, since I didn't have a lot of room, being on an airplane to take a bunch of Three Floyds with me. So I just focused on trades.
Yeah, I could drive back all my beer, which was nice for me. But really, I think the Baller Stouts were the find here. I mean, we knew we were going to get the Dark Lord. That was great. But the Dollar Stouts came out of the blue. We didn't expect to find that, and that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's really about a lot more than just sort of the Dark Lord release. There's so many other amazing things to get there. Yeah, that picture you sent me right when you got home and you loaded it up, it was just like Uber fridge.
Yeah, it was a pretty nice day. So how would you say that this beer release day differs from the Kate the Great Day?
Well, there's really, there's a lot of little things that are different, but there's really one main distinction that drives how the whole event unfolds.
The main difference between a brewery and brew pub releases seems to be volume. A typical brewery release attracts thousands of people and really is more focused on beer distribution, whereas a brew pub release is focused more on entertaining guests on release day and making sure everyone has a good time. Three Floyds has to figure out the best way to distribute 24,000 bottles of beer in a day, which leads to an event which centers around selling bottles of beer. The other events, music, guest beers, etc., are really just ways to distract you while waiting for your time to purchase. Brew pubs like Portsmouth are more focused on serving their drafts and making sure the patrons enjoy the time they spend there. There are lines involved, but once you get inside, it's all nachos and beer without needing to constantly fight through people to get anywhere. Now, the brewery is able to produce a lot more beer, which is great for getting the beer out to folks, and they can host a much larger party. Plus, there is no table squatting, as there are no tables.
All right, Eric. So what we have brought you here today is a 2011 Dark Lord and a 2012 Dark Lord. Now, we have already tasted the 2012 Dark Lord, and in fact, like Dark Lord tends to be, it's on the sweeter side. So that lends itself very well to cellaring for some time. So what we're going to do is we're going to open this 2011 today and taste it, and we're going to give you that 2012 to put in your cellar for next year.
Definitely got, very sweet kind of aroma. It just smells like sugar. A lot like the aroma, to be honest. It's very sweet, bordering on cloying, but it's there's enough complexity there to even it out. I think to me it tastes kind of like a cross between rock candy and molasses with a little chocolate thrown in. I don't get a lot of the roastiness in this one that is common in a lot of these, and for me it's awesome. It's a great beer. It's well worth waiting for. Definitely the age is nice on it. It adds that complexity, that the sherry, port kind of character to the flavor, which I think is better than fresh. I'd probably even age it another year.
So another successful beer adventure. What'd you think?
It was a lot of fun. I have to say the guys at Three Floyds do a real nice job of managing a big party like that. It can't be easy to have, what would we have, 10,000 people? How many people came?
6,000.
6,000 people show up at your door. I couldn't handle it at my house. But the other nice thing, so some of it happens out on the street, and the local police are all there, and they're very patient, lean with people as long as everybody was well behaved, because we're all having a good time. It's not the kind of place where people are going to go nuts and get ridiculous.
I actually saw some people go nuts, but it was contained.
I would say it would be nice if they could do a little bit more line management. I just understand, they don't have that many people to herd 2,000 cattle at a time through their doors. But by the time we got to the C line, it was very chaotic. It wasn't even really a line anymore. It was just a big lump of people trying to push to get into the front, and it really kind of became frustrating at the end there.
Yeah, I know. Standing in line for an hour and moving 10 feet was horrible. It may make more sense if the line didn't even go into the brewery, if it just went right along the outside and into the back. That may be great, because that sea line was just murder.
Yeah, well, I think the easy answer to that is just get 8 tickets.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, until next time, keep drinking.
Thanks.
Make sure to buy your ticket at release day. We'll have several computers lined up or a couple people trying. They get very expensive on the secondary market. It's more fun to stay with a bunch of other beer lovers, so book at a hotel with rates for Dark Lord participants. Friday night beer sampling at the hotels is one of the most fun elements of the trip. Be there. The weather can be unpredictable. On the Tuesday before release day, check the weather. If it looks bad, order a pop-up tent from Amazon and deliver it to the hotel. Best $80 I ever spent. Trading is a big aspect of this event, and most of it happens before 10 a.m. Bring good stuff and get there early. 6,000 people in one little cell tower equals a communications mess. Have meeting places figured out in advance if you can. If you want to try Dark Lord on tap, head for the brew pub first thing. Otherwise, the lines become unbearable. So many sad people after they drop their allocation because the cardboard is weak. This event is a marathon, not a sprint. You have 8 hours to enjoy tons of beer. Don't flame out 2 hours in.